the first official Keep Flying show was at our diabetes camp. So I've like always just, since I was on from day one. But yeah, so, go see them at shows. With the Punches did like a weekender with them in 2019.
Okay, awesome.
And then this summer when Charlie decided he wasn't going to tour with the band anymore, John called me up and was like, "Hey man, so Charlie's going to quit the band." And I was like, "But again, I've been on this phone call before."
Yep. Yeah, we got this guy named like Archibald. He's gonna play.
Yeah. Mike Tomasulo is gonna play guitar. No. But yeah, so but he was like, "Would you be interested?" And I was like, "Yo, I would really, I want to be in Keep Flying. I've wanted to be in Keep Flying." He's like, "Cool." He's like, "Well, we'll see how the tour goes and see what happens and we'll go from there." And so that was first tour we did was like end of August to early September. And I've been on every tour since. So
excellent.
Going on 6 months now.
Love to hear it. Now, as far as kind of like your standing and Keep Flying, I know Henry's kind of a maniac when it comes to writing music and all that stuff, and I feel like he's one of those guys that is constantly writing. So, have you been involved in any of that songwriting process?
A little bit. He'll send me like he'll send me like clips of things, mostly because I just badger him all the time. Like, "Yo, man, love to write songs."
Yeah.
Like,
there you go.
And so I'm like, "Yo, just literally, I'm like sitting at home, I'm doing nothing. Please just send me something to work on." And I'll demo something out, and he'll be like, "That was not really what I had in mind, but this thing is cool." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, cool." So, so what will end up getting used? I don't know. I'm just happy to be here. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's awesome. No, I mean, and it's like I said, it's great to know that you're, you're kind of getting involved in that, which is essentially, what you would have wanted to have done from the get go. But, it's a great thing. Keep Flying is just one of those bands that we've talked about ad nauseum on the podcast, but I mean, they're just the quintessential band that like does it the right way. I mean, a lot of bands nowadays are, before they're even starting to think about getting in a van, they're putting out singles and they're, wondering how many, streams they're going to get and all this kind of stuff. But Keep Flying is, the band that did it the way that bands did it back when we were kids. Like you wanted to go out there and get noticed. Well, jump in the van, go play shows, play 50 cap shows, play 100 cap shows, play 300, 500, like get out there and play. And, through the pandemic and through all of the negativity, Keep Flying has just been that one band that's just been steadily doing it. And I think that's a great thing. And, I think your presence in the band is really going to be a great thing for them because, looking back to With the Punches and looking back to, again, as I had called out in the beginning, kind of the sound that you guys had cultivated. I mean, like it was kind of wild for the time, right? So, I mean, now you've got another songwriter in the mix, which is great, to kind of, I guess, keep Henry on his toes, if that's even possible. I don't know. Like he's just, it's unreal. Like when I think of having just Henry and John, them two, and you look at like their back catalog of everything they've been involved in, all of the music that they've been involved in. It's just like, it shouldn't surprise me how prolific they are as songwriters, but it still does.
Oh yeah. And it's being this much closer now and getting to know everybody better. Like I'm a fan of Henry's music, fan of Henry and, the songs that Keep Flying has written thus far.
Yeah.
But I never got to see, I didn't know that Henry just has perfect pitch. So we're, somebody's running a vacuum cleaner. He's like, "Oh, it's a G sharp. It's a little bit sharp, but it's close. It's pretty close." And you're like,
maniac. I love it.
Yeah. Or watching some band play and he's like, we get on stage, some opener play and we get on and he thanks them and then plays one of their songs as he's thanking them, kind of half plays it. And you're like, when did you?
Yep.
Okay. All right, sure. But everybody in the band's like that. Chuck, who plays bass, is unbelievable singer and,
Yep.
and songwriter as well. You know, Peter, our drummer, is like an actual crazy person. Like,
yeah, that's true.
Like we'll be in the van and like death metal, the hardest SoundCloud rap you've ever heard in your life, Devo for 4 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, yo, he's like, I had no idea, you know, like not knowing Peter very well.
Yeah, of course.
I was just like, oh, that's the kid in the Zabalba beanie for a long time. But he's he's so diverse and like just has such a wealth of knowledge of music. And Ricky, I didn't know Ricky at all. He's like the guy I knew the least.
Mm-hmm.
And he's been playing in ska bands for, you know, the last 600 years. So it's like he has done this as much as anyone, and it's awesome.
So is he a mailman? Because the last few times I saw Keep Flying, he rocks like authentic mailman shorts. And I just was curious.
He does always wear the mailman shorts. I will tell you, I asked him because I was like, yo, Rick, like, where did you get mailman shorts? And he was like, don't worry about it. And I was like, no, but Rick, like, were you a mailman at any point? And he was like, I don't like to talk about it. And I was like, I'm not asking you like about the intricacies. I just want to, did you work for the U.S. Postal Service? He's like, well, we'll talk about it another time. So
there's some sort of like secret society of mailmen that like you can't talk about it. It's like Fight Club, except way worse.
The man is unhinged.
Yeah. But I mean, like, you know, there's some levity to all that. It's just like as crazy of a band as Keep Flying is, and at least all their components when put together kind of just come together and just are this like glorious, wonderful thing. So it's just like, it's really wild. And I guess I got to tell this story because it's a sad story, but it involves me not even seeing you guys play one note of songs. So Friday, I'm just going to tell the story. Friday, I had a couple. I had a few drinks, and a few drinks turned into a few more drinks. And then all of a sudden, by the time I got to the venue, I promptly listened to like the first 4 chords of an Out of Time song and told my wife that I had to go home because I was going to get sick. And I promptly did. I got sick like 3 times on the way home. But I gave John this huge hug and told him how excited I was to see them play. And truthfully, I was so excited to see Keep Flying play because I'd only see Keep Flying once. I'd never seen them with you, Dustin, playing. So I was just like, holy shit, this is going to be great. And I didn't even make it. So for that, I do truly apologize. It's not one of my best moments, but it was a moment nonetheless. But you know, that's why you got to learn to hold your booze better. So
it's funny because Justin from Out of Time before the gig started, he was like, oh yeah, like my buddy Tommy's coming, like has a podcast, and we're talking about the podcast. And I was like, oh, what podcast is it? Oh, Bar Down Breakdown. And I was like, oh, it's that fucking podcast all the time.
Yep.
I was like, that's dope. I was like, I've met that dude before.
Yeah.
I was like, we're not like friends, but like we've definitely met.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm hyped to say hi. Like I haven't seen him since the podcast started. Love to, tell him how much I enjoy it.
Yep.
And then after I was like, yo, Justin, you seen Tom around? He's like, I think he had a couple too many. I think he had to go home.
That's
precisely
what happened.
I literally ask Tom like once a year to do something for the podcast, just once a year. And I was like, dude, like, we're good friends with Out of Time. We're good friends with Keep Flying. Like, why don't you film a few videos to put up on our Instagram story? And I like kept checking throughout the night, like as all the bands are playing. I was like, all right, maybe he'll do it in the morning. Like radio silence. So I had to text Justin from Out of Time. I'm like, dude, is Tom alive? Like he is not responding. And now it all makes sense.
Yeah. It wasn't good. It wasn't something I'm very proud of. I did, apparently I didn't even remember it, but my wife said we went to Taco Bell and I promptly got sick in the Taco Bell line. And like opened the passenger door, like stumbled out into like this grassy patch, started like throwing up, and then like after like 30 seconds of throwing up, apparently just like fell over, just like shoulder over head fell over and just did like essentially a somersault into like more grassy knoll. It wasn't good. It really wasn't good, but I think like I get that inebriated maybe 2 or 3 times a year. And this was just the time that I decided to do it. So if you're out there listening, just know that Tommy did a bad. Tommy did a real bad one. And but luckily, Keep Flying tours like 356 days out of the year. So at least I'll get another opportunity to see you guys at some point. And at that time, I'll be drinking water and Gatorade only.
No,
absolutely. And we love Florida, so they'll definitely be in Florida
for sure.
So yeah, I did want to comment on that because only Keep Flying does like statewide tours. Like they're the only band that I've ever seen do that. Like, oh, we're gonna do a Texas tour. Who does a freaking Texas tour? Like, who does a strictly Florida tour? Like that's unheard of. And
we
you
have
guys
Pennsylvania coming up in February.
Yeah,
it is.
There you go. So you guys played, and I've heard about this place, the Bat Ranch or the Bat, like what it's like lore. Like I've heard about it, but I need to hear from you. Like, what is this place about?
Okay, so the story that I heard is that this guy just like is into horror stuff. He has all this land in Florida, in Apopka, Florida, and he started out just throwing like Halloween parties because he just had like this big, like an outbuilding, you know what I mean? Like big, like pole barn. So, and then they just got bigger and bigger. And then there were like 2,000 people showing up for these Halloween parties this dude was throwing. He's like, so I had to chill on that because that's like too much. And I was like, oh yeah, I mean, that makes sense. His neighbor had heard a ruckus and was like, hey man, I have a band. Could we like rehearse over here? And so they brought over equipment, and then that's kind of how they started the venue.
Love that.
Now, so that's the backstory that I heard. Here's my experience. So one, with the Punches, I don't want to say we only ever had bad tours in Florida, but bad things happened in Florida every time. First tour, we lost 2 vehicles in Florida. 2. One we had, bought another one. That one died as we crossed the Georgia state line.
Ugh.
Great. So when I started touring with Keep Flying, John was like, we're going to go to Florida. I know you hate Florida. We're going to go to Florida. We love Florida. I love Florida. John basically is Florida man.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah. Right now, all day, he's just like, oh, I can't wait to get to Boca. It's my guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What are you going to do?
Well,
but yeah, so I have only had terrible experiences in Florida. So, but we get to Florida. We've had a couple days beforehand to just like hang out, see friends, having a great time. Go over and like bother everybody at Smart Punk for like a couple days.
sure.
Way too much time. Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
We pull up to this place, and it's like a long dirt road, quarter mile. You know what I mean? From the road to like the ranch. And it just looks, there's like a bombed out like RV, like an actual bombed out RV. Like, you've ever seen a war movie? That. Like, and John is just getting excited. Oh my God, look at it. It's glorious. I'm in the back like, I don't have any weapons on me. This is not good.
What are we going to do?
You come say hi?
Oh, look at that.
All right. See you later. There you go. Be safe.
We love appearances from JJR.
Peace be the journey, man.
Peace be the journey. Just, so he's just getting more and more hyped up. I'm like terrified. We get out. There's a kid running around, like a 6-year-old kid running around. And he's got water balloons. He's not throwing them at us, but he's throwing them near us. And I'm like, and it's cold. Like, I wasn't expecting cold in Florida. I brought 1 pair of pants.
Mm-hmm.
I lost my hoodie somewhere along this tour. Yeah. It's been cold down here.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't know. So he's throwing water balloons near us, and we're all just kind of like, we're trying to be like, okay, this is clearly like a feral child. That he's cool, he's a nice kid, but But also, like, we want to make it clear, like, please do not hit us with water balloons. It will make us very uncomfortable in a place that looks insane. Load in. People are nice. You know what I mean? Like, DIY venue, Florida. You know what I mean? Like, you can extrapolate that what you will.
Absolutely.
Get everything set up, looking good. Before the show starts. And a guy comes out with what I can only describe as a flamethrower, but that might not necessarily be the title. It has a propane tank like a for a grill attached, and it shoots fire.
I would call that a flamethrower.
Looked like a flamethrower to me. You know what I mean? I don't know the intricacies. You know what I mean? Like, if you're like a flamethrower enthusiast and I'm calling it the wrong thing, I apologize. But lights, there's a bunch of wood lights, and like looks like it was going to be a bonfire. Okay, cool. Lights the bonfire, but then there's just a tree next to it, and he also lights that on fire. And we're like, and I'm sitting next to John, and he just goes, "Oh, that's nice." I'm like, okay. Everybody. That being said, everybody was really nice. The bands were awesome. Like, all the bands that played were rad, and because we flew into the gig, we don't have any amps with us. We just have our guitars, and Pete has kick pedal, cymbals, and a snare drum.
Yeah.
Let us use all their stuff.
It's awesome.
People showed up. It was great. We had so much fun. The band that we used our equipment was Suck Brick Kid.
Oh, great band!
Oh, hell yeah.
Great band, great dudes. We played with them before. I love that band, so I'm always real excited when I get to see them. But yeah, we just had a great time, but terrified. Actually, like fearful for my life, grown man. Felt good.
And are there legit bats? Like that has to be addressed?
No. Bugs everywhere. Getting mauled by mosquitoes. We're putting on pants and hoodies, got our hoods up, getting mauled.
Yep. No bats.
Not a bat in sight.
Not a bat in sight. But there are bats in Florida. I've seen them, actually. Like, twilight driving around, like even where I live in like the Winter Park, Maitland area, there's bats. It's crazy. And it's funny because Apopka's not too far from where I am. I mean, Apopka's just like 20 minutes from where I am. But, the further you get out of like Orlando proper, the weirder things get. Things can get a little weird, but weird is not the worst thing. I mean,
right.
I've done some weird things. I remember I was in this punk band when I was probably 10 years ago, and we did a little trip to Florida and back, and we played somewhere in Jacksonville in this like warehouse, and this dude was wearing I think it was like a Tigger outfit, and one song in, he just like shed his Tigger outfit, and he was just wearing like tighty whities for the rest of the show, and that's about it. But I get it. I mean, it was like January in Florida, and it was like 85 degrees because Florida doesn't know what the hell it wants to do. But that was fun. That was a fun time. But I mean, Florida man is a real thing. We all know that. It's a very real thing. But I love that, though. I mean, as weird as that is, DIY venues just, Long Island being one of those places where it's almost impossible for them to exist. We've had them come and we've had them go. So it's good to know that, flamethrowers and all, at least there's still a place for people to go play, which is awesome. So let's kind of turn the clock back real quick, because want to talk a little bit about With the Punches. And I specifically want to talk about Seams and Stitches, because Doghouse Records, man, that's a pretty serious thing. Doghouse was one of those labels that even, at that time in 2011, 2012, they were, they had some serious music on it. You date back to, way before that, but Get Up Kids and Limbeck and, Say Anything and all these unbelievable artists. And then here you guys are getting an opportunity to put a record out on Doghouse. And I just kind of would love to hear a little bit of insight about, how that process came to be, how you ended up signing with Doghouse, how the recording process for Seams and Stitches went, and what it was like getting to work with a label like Doghouse, because that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it really was, and it was largely, mostly due to our manager at the time, a guy named Kyle Roger, who is just one of our close friends, and he worked at. You out of here?
I must say bye.
All right, brother.
Can
I love it. Yeah, no, come on. John from Northbound is making a cameo appearance.
Bye, brother.
Bye, man.
Love you. I'm gonna hang and love you.
I'll talk to you soon.
Peace.
Hey. Love it.
What's funny is him and John are leaving together. John was here 10 minutes ago.
Sure was.
It's fine. It's fine. So Kyle really believed in the band. And he was just a dude we had known. He played in a band called Searching for Skylines. And so, you know, he worked at Glamour Kills, which is like, at that time, if you're from the Hudson Valley, when you're home from tour, you work at Glamour Kills. Like Mark just hired everybody. Like, oh, you don't, like, you're home from tour for 3 weeks and you need a job that's going to like pay you reasonably and under the table if you'd like.
Yep.
Cool. Come in, pack shirt orders for me. Okay. What else can I do? Here's this Nerf sniper rifle. If you just want to shoot Kyle, there's like an angle from the warehouse where you can you can hit him right in the face. And he would just, you know, like that was, they took such good care of all of us, everybody in the scene at that time. And yeah, so Kyle was like just a believer in the band. And so we had put out the 2 EPs and we're like, okay, we're ready to like make a full length. Mm-hmm. We're going to take on the challenge. And he was really like, before we had, I don't even think we had any demos for any of the songs yet. He had, you know, got us a meeting with them and they were interested. And Jesse and I heard Doghouse Records and we were like, they put out the Get Up Kids, of course. Like, yeah. I was like, yeah, but like, you know, like, do you think it fits with the punches? Like, they put out the Get Up Kids.
Yep.
Like,
Let's do it.
Yeah, unless, you know, I don't think Epitaph's coming calling for us. So yes, like, this is great. Mm-hmm.